Okay, hello everybody. My name's Karen Gallagher and I'm the Creative Director of Karen Gallagher and Associates. And I'm absolutely delighted to be here with some colleagues to discuss with you our Dance Democracy 2, a conference that was actually supposed to be taking place this month, but due to COVID-19 and lockdown, we're having to postpone until February 2021. This is very much about saving the date. So just to put a bit of context to it, in 2018, myself with Dr. Sarah Black at Liverpool Hope University, MDI and the Leap Festival, put together our Dance Democracy 1. It was very much linked to the themes of that festival, so suffrage, people power, making visible the invisible, and also really reconsidering our civic responsibility, looking at duty of care, also looking at how ethical practice was impacting on the communities that we were working with. And so building on that success, we wanted to bring our Dance Democracy 2. I keep calling it ODD so that you know. So ODD 2 was very much about extending and interrogating the context of the world that we're living in. We want to explore and debate with artists and academics to really interrogate the function of dance in the 21st century. So this particular conference is really looking at our world in terms of how we know it's ever challenging, it's ever changing, but it is a global society. And within that global society, we really want to interrogate and demonstrate how identity and how belonging really informs the real world that we're living in. So please let me introduce some of the panel to you and obviously hand over now to Sarah Black.
Hello, my name is Dr. Sarah Black and I am a lecturer in dance and performance studies at Liverpool Hope University. We invite you to join us online on the 11th and 12th of February to pick up some of the themes that we started in 2018. We announce a space for ethical action, a platform for dancers and academics to make visible and test the viability of ideas of embodied principles and practices in a collective endeavour.
So the conference has been brought together with the support of Arts Council England and some key people that are here with us today. I'd just like them to introduce themselves and where they're coming from. Victor.
Thanks, Karen. My name is Victor Merriman and I'm Professor of Critical Studies in Drama at Edge Hill University.
Chris.
Hello everybody, my name's Chris Stenton. I'm the Executive Director of an organisation called People Dancing, the Foundation for Community Dance.
Alicia.
Hi everyone, my name's Alicia Smith. I'm Head of Art and Participation for Culture Liverpool, Liverpool City Council.
Okay, so we have some questions for you today. So Victor, I would like to ask, you opened our keynote in 2018. And we have the absolute pleasure of you opening again for us in February. I'd like to ask you the highlights of your opening speech this year and just to talk about how that speech then engages with some of the themes of the conference.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, highlights of a speech that's not written yet. Well, as you point out, the conference is conceptualizing the world as an ever-challenging and changing global society. So what I'm interested in looking at really is the interaction between the art form, in this case dance, and concepts of the public. Because if we have public institutions which are responsive, we are in a position using democratic means to bring about change. Increasingly across the world, I think a lot of people, and indeed many artists, experience public institutions as non-responsive, or indeed as quite aggressive. We live in a country where the phrase hostile environment has real currency. And I think that in relation to that, the kinds of statements, embodied statements that dancers make every time they go out on a platform to dance are of particular significance. Because there is a sense in which what the artist does in moving in a piece of contemporary dance both brings into being the community that is watching and also creates the world in which the action makes sense. Now, that's quite an abstract comment to make. And what I will tend to do as I prepare what I will deliver on the day will be to work that through in relation to specific examples, because it's not for me to enjoy an abstract moment myself. This is about communicating with other people. And it would be a travesty, actually, to talk about an art form in a way that was not clear. Having said that, I think the notion of identity is itself problematized. If you look at the great movement of the last year or so, Black Lives Matter, and the way in which the very articulation of that movement was co-opted by aggressive opposing forces as some kind of threat. It shows how careful and nuanced we have to be in relation to identities and crucially how they interact with each other. Because I think the whole idea of identities as a series of silos is a very dangerous one, because all identities are formed by contact as much as by personal experience. That's another thing, I think, a theoretical point worth making, that the world is bedeviled by a clash around individual and collective, and individualism has been winning that for quite some time now. But I think if we replace individualism, while acknowledging it's still there, it's very powerful, with a concept of the personal, we might get at a more productive account of what identity might be. So that's all I'm going to tell you now. You'll have to wait for the rest of it.
Fantastic as ever, and I was so impressed 2 years ago. As you know, Victor, I'm constantly using your words in a lot of my own keynotes, so thank you for that. So Chris, people dancing were really significant for us in 2018. You provided a lot of opportunities for us to really disseminate the information that came out of those 2 days through giving us a lot of editorial in your animated magazine. I'd be really interested to know, as a partner again in this conference, what particular aspects lend themselves to your readership, to your membership, to the artists and communities that you relate to at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Well, in many ways, I think kind of Victor has just illuminated why engaging with this conference for us is kind of really crucial and important. And I think that's a kind of a teaser to the kind of deep thinking that I think the conference is about. And actually, I think now is a time for deep thinking in lots of ways. I think there are probably 3 things for me to say. The first is I'm really delighted that People Dancing is working with you all again on this, on Dance Democracy 2. We had a great experience the first time around, and actually I really personally valued attending the event and hearing from a range of artists and thinkers that I might not encounter day to day. I really value opportunities to do that, and I know that others do too. It was a great programme last time around, and there are some fabulous contributors this time around. I know you're going to talk about that a bit more in a minute, Karen. Secondly, I'm kind of thrilled that we're supporting the commissioning of the artist raconteur, because actually one of the things, you asked me a question before we started filming about Zooms, and one of the things that I think I realise about Zooms is that I'm engaging with many more artists in a Zoom context than I would have done previously. And so often their skills as artists are really crucial in making that digital experience kind of sing. So I'm really happy to be supporting that. And thirdly, in the current time, and a time of extreme change, and for some experience of deep loss, kind of connecting and dialogue has never felt more important. So in relation to that, the conference, the aspects I think are relevant to us that we're interested in include, but aren't limited to, the civic role of artists, and kind of what it means for artists to be embedded in communities in all kinds of ways and through all kinds of work. The concept of artist and artist-led community development, activism, politics, taking the lead, not waiting for permission, and you know, the prevalence and importance of self-organisation. Maybe this is about changing the world and ways of being in the world. And that's a really important conversation, one that we want to be involved with, and one that I know the people that we work with embody in their everyday life. So to be a part of this initiative and to help you hold a space for this dialogue to happen is really valuable for us. And I would say to anybody who's watching this, if you're serious about this stuff, then I think you really need to be there. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris, and thank you for that hard sell. It is absolutely important that you all come to this one. And I think the fact that it is online is going to offer us that opportunity to have our reach extended far more than maybe it would have been had it been live. So thank you for that. Alicia, it's great to have you on board this time round with Liverpool City Council and Culture Liverpool. Obviously, this is an event that brings together artists and academics, and especially for us, we're really wanting to focus on our independent freelance artist scene, and I know that's something that the city's been working on. I just wonder if you could kind of put your spin on why you're involved in this, why it's so important maybe to have this type of conference in the city, and how this kind of supports, you know, the kind of cultural strategy that you have and the values that you hold yourself in terms of having been a dance practitioner and now heading up the participation team at Culture Liverpool.
Well, firstly, I think it's important for the city, and this event will play a part of the recovery of our city, especially next year, and how we take it forward and we create debate. And I think obviously it's been a challenging time for culture and the creative sector, and our cultural organisations play a real key role in the recovery of the city, and just echoing what everyone else has just been saying there, really, about the health, the well-being and community cohesion. And I see your conference being part of that kind of debate and creating that conversation, really. And you mentioned our cultural strategy. We're just about finishing the final details of that, but the vision and priorities are very much about creative communities and that ownership, and really about creating creative activity, and how we help shape and change a community, and how people can actually work together and empower, really. I think that's really important to us, and that's one of our main priorities in our strategy. And for me personally, the power of arts and the cultural dialogue is just amazing, and how you do that through whatever art form, dance, or whatever, is really important, and how you communicate to our communities and give them that license to actually be creative, which is really important to us and to the city. And obviously both of you have been part of our RISE programme, and RISE is a programme that actually shines a light on our female artists. And in 2019, that was about working with artists from the UK, international artists, and it was about happenings, exhibitions, debates, and we were in conversation for 2020 to see how that would fit into our RISE programme. But obviously COVID happened, we had to put a halt to that. But what we did do is some micro commissions, which obviously Karen, you were part of as well. And it just gave us the opportunities to still have a dialogue with our freelancers and our artists. And obviously as women have got lots to say. And it was, we posed that question in the middle of lockdown, how does it feel for them, And what we got was just this amazing experience of this kind of social commentary of what was happening. And your conference will be doing that same thing, really, and putting that under the microscope as well, really, and kind of looking at it. And I think it's just really interesting to be part of lots of different things, and how we support our freelance sector as well, and artists, and give them the platform to have a voice. And obviously it's really important for me that you two women are part of our RISE programme, and I think that's great for the city.
So just to move on from that, obviously we know that we've got the wonderful Victor as our opening keynote, but we're also bringing some really interesting locally based, UK based and international speakers, artists and academics this time round. And we just thought we'd share a couple of them with you, just to kind of tease your appetite, to get you all interested in wanting to hear what these people have got to say. It's going to be provocative. There's going to be real elements of learning. There's going to be some real intuitive conversations and debates happening through some of these people that we're bringing. And this is not all of them, but we do have
Dr. Elena Marcheska, Associate Professor from London South Bank University. We have the amazing Alexandrina Hemsley, choreographer and dancer from London. Nia Love, who is a professor from Hunter's College in New York.
And we've got Dylan Quinn, who's the artistic director of Dylan Quinn Dance Theatre from Ireland. We've got Professor Thomas DeFrance from Duke University in North Carolina. We've got our very own Paula Hampson, choreographer and performer from the Liverpool City region. And we've got Professor Patricia Noxolo from Birmingham University, and the Michael Douglas Collective from Cologne, and Liz Lee from Australia. And obviously, summing all of that up is our raconteur, who Chris has already spoken about, who is the wonderful Wendy Houston, who will be putting her spin on what she sees and hears throughout the 2 days. I'm really excited by that.
So we are very excited for you to save the date of the 11th and the 12th of February, and you can register online on the link on this screen. So we hope to see you very soon.
Thank you and goodbye.